Excuse me. Good. Okay, Roman. Good morning, everyone. So, I'm going to call Mrs. Milne to the lectern. We're doing academic colours to begin with this morning. So, Mrs. Milne, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robertson. Good morning. It gives me great pleasure this morning to announce the latest recipients of Senior Academic Colours. You might remember that we presented colours to Isabella Zhang last term, and I wanted to let you know that we'll have 2 more opportunities for senior and junior colours in the coming terms. But before I announce the names, I have 2 things I'd like to do. First, I want to remind you about colours and why Mr. Robertson will be awarding these ties to this group of students today. It's important to take time to recognize and celebrate hard work and achievement. For example, individual teams have sports awards, perhaps the most valuable player, most improved player, player of the match, or an award for sportsmanship. There are accolades for your creativity in the arts or your performance on the stage. If you look at the honor boards that have just been rehung in the main hallway, there are recognitions on closing day for academics, citizenship, sportsmanship, leadership, athleticism, and being a leader in all of these areas. Many houses have commendations for your contribution during inter-house events or for being supportive to everyone else in your house. Each assessment, we have Dean's Dinner List and the Headmaster's Honor Roll. And in June, we recognize your achievement in specific subject areas and specific courses. But colours is unique. At Shawnigan, we have colours for academics, athletics, fine arts, and the house. And if you take time to read all the citations, which are in your gold book, they share some very key words. Words like commitment, leadership, skill, or achievement. They also include words like positive, genuine, and enthusiastic. So why am I so passionate about the importance of academic colours? Shawnigan has so much to offer you and so many opportunities and activities that you can participate in, and we are good at celebrating all of these. Sometimes, however, we need to be reminded that you're actually here to earn an education, to go to school. And when I read the names of all the students today of academic colours, please recognize how hard these students have worked on their academic courses and to be academic leaders while still doing everything else. To be considered for colours, you must be on Dean's Dinner and the Headmaster's Honor Roll consistently, but you also need to get the support of all your teachers, your advisor, and your house director. When we meet to discuss the nominations, the colour citation is our guide, and it reads, academic colours will be awarded to students who consistently demonstrate superior effort, achievement, and leadership in their studies, while also maintaining a commitment to the many other facets of the Shawnigan program. Showing genuine interest, working to potential, and supporting your classmates must be integral to a recipient's approach. Senior colours are only awarded to grade 12 students, and consideration is given to your performance in grade 11 and grade 12. Today I thought I would share with you some of the supportive comments that your teachers made at the meeting we had a few weeks ago about the grade 12s to help you understand what teachers are looking for when we pull out each of those aspects of that citation. Here are a few of the comments about your classmates. A lover of knowledge, insightful and bright, very giving of time to others in the house, a bit quiet in class but makes a point of asking good questions outside of class and supports classmates when in small groups. An amazing contributor, the top contributor in my class, has taken the initiative to take a class that we don't offer. Brilliant. Proactive when away to get the material ahead of time and ensures that they do it and it's completed and it's learned. A joy to teach as a love of learning comes out every day. A leader in the class, even though very, very shy. My class would not be the same without this student. So dynamic and so inquisitive. Doing more work than asked due to a love of the subject. Scholarly in every way and brings an outside knowledge to classroom discussions. Is in it for the love of learning, not the mark at the end. Creative, has set up a tutorial system in our house. Does not just rely on natural ability, but pushes themselves every day. Such a positive attitude, especially when trying to overcome areas of struggle. Has taken some very challenging courses and is working harder than ever, and cares a lot about their learning and the others in the class. So no matter what grade you're in, Are these the type of comments your teachers would make about you? Would you be considered a color student? Why or why not? Are you pushing yourself as hard as you can, or are you letting the opportunity of engaging in your learning pass you by? Are you vocal enough with good questions that contribute to learning? Are you focused on your progress? Are you not only focused on your progress and your marks, but do you encourage the others in your class and help the people in your house when they need it? Are you meeting all the expectations that your teachers set out for you to stay on top of your work, especially when you're away or sick? Are you genuinely excited about learning? So no matter how strong of a student you are, you're missing an opportunity if you're not putting forward your best every day. In the words of Ralph Waldo Emerson, remember, the only person you are destined to become is a person that you decide to be. The second thing I wanted to say as we hit the halfway point of our school year was a thank you. We've embraced a number of new initiatives this year around teaching and learning, and in the form of creativity time, long blocks, cohorts in grade 8 and 9, and the new curriculum. Your teachers have been working very hard to enhance the opportunities within your class for inquiry, project-based learning, and cross-curricular activities. So I thank them for generally working hard to implement these new approaches, and I thank you for the positive way you've approached these shifts, providing constructive feedback and suggestions for continued enhancement. Being engaged in your learning is key, so please give your teachers feedback on what you are learning, and remember to say thank you to them every once in a while. So now back to my main role and goal this morning. At this time, I would like to invite the headmaster forward to present senior academic colors to the following grade 12 students. I ask each of them to come forward when their name is called, in no particular order. Senior academic colors go to Victoria Schuster, Jackson Gaeta, Duncan Adshade, Jade Alexander, Ashley Hasagawa, Neil Stridham, Olin Webb, Maddie Johnston, Gemma Broadley, Marie Dye, Matt Kors, John Yang, Anderson Zhang, Elise McKinnon, Emma Doig, Anders Farr, Mary No, and Wenfeng Zhang.
Congratulations to all of you, and a special thanks to Mrs. Milne for her drive and her energy and her leadership of our whole academic effort. Mrs. Milne, thank you again. Lots of good words there that we need to keep reminding ourselves of. And just as I close this, I'll get you out of here reasonably early this morning. There's a lot of sickness around, I can hear that, and we know that. So the nurses reminded us to keep washing your hands, keep your hands away from your mouth when you're sharing things and all that type of thing. Yeah, just try and take whatever precautions you can to keep that percentage of sickness down as much as we can. But so we'll get you out of here in time to maybe even get a hot drink before you get off to class. But I wanted to talk a little bit about words briefly this morning, and I read a recent article about the word of the year. Does anyone know what the word of the year is? In the BBC, word of the year? That was one of the candidates in the article I read. That wasn't the one that was selected, though. Post-truth was the one that was selected. Post-truth, and then people are out there saying, well, that's 2 words. Well, when you hyphenate a word, it's a portmanteau word, and it becomes a whole word. So post-truth is the word of the year. What does post-truth mean? Post-truth means that truth, worryingly, is no longer the baseline. Truth is negotiable. And that's actually, that's extremely worrying for some of us, because we've spent a lot of time using truth as our basis for right and wrong, for establishing the all-important right and wrong, what's right, what's wrong, as parents and as citizens and as educators. So it's sort of worrying, and I couldn't believe it last night when I saw a little clip on the news, and the press secretary of the new president of the USA was describing his previous attempt at supplying misinformation and giving it under the guise of truth as alternative facts. Wow, alternative facts. So I can see you now in the discipline office, just in answering. So I'm just going to supply you with some alternative facts, Mr. Clinton Baker. Alternative facts actually goes back to George Orwell, and George Orwell, of course, created this whole 1984 totalitarian nightmare prediction society, which is actually chillingly closer to the truth than we want it to be, given that it was written in 1948. But he created it all on the distortion of truth. So when he was torturing the lead character to get him to accept the party, it was all hinging on what was 2 + 2. And of course, O'Brien, the lead character, says, well, 2 + 2 is 4. And repeatedly keeps saying 2 + 2 is 4. But the party wanted him to believe the new reality, which was 2 + 2 is 5. And so they go through the whole process of torturing and brainwashing him until he gets there. So chillingly close to that when I hear about alternative facts. So I want you to resist the trend. Do not depart, Shawnigan Lake School community, do not depart from your reliance on truth and our insistence on truth as the baseline. Accept the contrast that not everybody is going to be like you. That's okay. Not everybody's going to share your views. Not everybody's at the same state of awareness. If you go back to that, one of the most famous quotes from the Bible, forgive them for they know not what they do. I refer to that all the time. Forgive them for they know not what they do. We just have to educate them. And we haven't managed to get there yet in terms of educating everyone. So in these days where there are troubling things going on and you're dealing with tiredness and sickness and all that sort of thing, keep falling back on some of your mantras or your symbols. How many people in this chapel have a mantra or 2 or 3 or more that they fall back on? Put your hand up. Really? Is that all? Okay. Put your hands up again so I can really see where we go. How many people I share my... Oh, okay. I'm talking about things like this too shall pass. I'm talking about, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. I'm talking about any of those sort of mantras that just help you to steel yourself through the challenge of the moment. Some people use a symbol. I often have a little symbol in my pocket where I just occasionally grab it. Remember the Scots are essentially superstitious people, right? So it's not surprising how to have things like that. But those are good things to have, because again, just by focusing on it for a second, it can reaffirm your commitment to something, or reaffirm your commitment to the values, or maybe even reaffirm your commitment to truth, which is what I want you to do this morning. A mantra is usually just words of hope often, that will inspire you to get through whatever you're trying to get through. And it's kind of appropriate when I talk about words of hope, it's appropriate that we're sandwiched in between Martin Luther King Day, which was, I think, the 16th, wasn't it? 16th? And Robert Burns Day, which is the 25th. And you're looking at me and thinking, what has Robert Burns got to do with Martin Luther King? Well, Robert Burns was the Scottish equivalent of Shakespeare. And his words have lasted forever. The only reason he's not quite as popular is because if you're not Scottish, you can't understand all of them. But the sentiments and the way he puts them together are absolutely first class, just as Martin Luther King's words were. So take inspiration from those characters. If you need to go back and Google some of their speeches or some of their words, do so. And the words I want to finish with, which seemed eerily appropriate for the moment, are actually from Charles Dickens, from the beginning of The Tale of Two Cities. And it goes back right to the time of the French Revolution, right to the end of the 1700s. And it says, and see if you can see what I mean by similarities. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief, it was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light, it was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope, it was the winter of despair. We had everything before us, we had nothing before us. We were all going direct to heaven, we were all going direct the other way. In short, the period was so far like the present period that some of its noisiest authorities insisted on its being received, for good or for evil, in the superlative degree of comparison only. Now listen to that last line there. That some of its noisiest authorities insisted on it being received in the superlative degree of comparison only. And I'm thinking of certain characters in leading positions in politics when I say that. So there you are. Contrast. It is a time of contrast. Life, though, is always about contrast. It's about contrast between feeling cold and feeling warm, feeling tired and feeling refreshed, feeling hungry, feeling satisfied, and so on and so on. Contrast between your efforts and your reward for all those efforts. That's what we were celebrating this morning, the reward for all those efforts. We have many efforts still to make. And this week, there are a number of people making huge efforts in the context of chilly weather, travel, colds, late nights, getting up early, and so on. All those contrasts. So, in an unusual move, because normally you congratulate the cast and crew of a show after they've performed. But I want us to congratulate the cast and crew of In the Heights as I ask them to stand. Stand, please. Stand. Cast and crew of In the Heights. Stand. I want us to congratulate them before they open their show for all the work that they've already done and are going to continue to do. Well done. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.